Hi Creatives, it's Claire from Right Council. In this video, we're going to be talking about getting ready for the Christmas rush. Now this video particularly is for people that are making products to sell them as Christmas gifts. So we're going to talk about a few different things you should consider before heading to do your online shopping to buy 1,000,000 supplies to make 1,000,000 products. So, if you've not noticed, Christmas is coming, and for makers, that generally does mean a Christmas rush, which is excellent, but that means you have to be prepared. So, you have to order materials and supplies in anticipation of an increase in orders, and there really is a balancing act of ordering enough to make the products you think will sell and enough that the shipping on those supplies is worthwhile, but not too little so that you have to repeat ship and repeat buy and pay for repeat shipping because you have to reorder, and not too much that you're going to have excess supplies and materials hanging around longer than you need them. And it really is kind of an art. Although there is some science, I find that the rules are really quite hard to apply to solo businesses. But you really need to make sure you're buying the right amount because those supplies cost you cash. Well, cost, like they use up the cash supply in your business in investing those supplies, because once you've purchased them, they represent basically an asset in your business. You could have used that money potentially elsewhere, but instead you used it to buy supplies. And let's not forget that when I say supplies, I don't just mean the materials you need to sell the products, but all the things associated with selling those products, wrapping and packing and shipping. Business cards, thank you notes, stickers, envelopes, tissue paper, bubble wrap, postage, and all the things. So before we dive into some more online shopping, before you dive in that is, for your Christmas rush, there are a couple of things I really recommend doing. And the first one is checking out the information I have put together on inventory management, and I will link to that video in the description for this video. But then there's a few things beyond that, so particularly in terms of Christmas rush. And the first kind of broad category is, what do you already have that you could use for the Christmas stuff? And it's a broad question. We're going to break it down into 3 main things. So the first thing, now I know making new stuff is way more exciting than selling the stuff you already have, but I'm gonna guess you have products ready to sell that are in your studio. And remember, those products have costs associated with them, both supplies and the time you spent making them. So start really by making sure you have these products available for sale. There are so many times I speak to people and there are products they have in their studio that just aren't available for sale. They haven't told customers about them, they aren't on their website, and they haven't been promoted on social media. And even if you have, and that was 6 months ago, make sure you go back, refresh them, review them, update any quantities, update the photographs, make sure you have the products you have available for sale. That is the first thing you will have available for your Christmas rush. And then what about those half finished products? You know, the ones you started on, the work in progress, a couple of things on them have been completed, but they aren't quite finished. Maybe you have some half painted artworks, maybe artworks you haven't digitized or resized for those particular products you want to sell yet. Some pieces that need maybe earring backs or sanding or polishing. You know, you get the idea. Go through your work in progress and finish them off, because they take less cash investment often and less time investment than starting something from scratch. So go raid your work in progress pile. And then the last one, and you're probably going to guess where I'm going with this one. Do you have a bunch of supplies already in stock? What could you use those supplies for? Can you turn some of those expenses that you've already incurred, that you've already spent on, and turn those into income, aka Can you make more products to sell from the supplies you already have in stock? Now, I appreciate you may need to buy some additional supplies to finish them off. Maybe you need some necklace chains to go with some pendants, sort of thing. Or it could be more cash effective, not necessarily cost effective, cash effective, to use those supplies before venturing into starting something completely new. So what stock, what work in progress, and what supplies do you already have? Now, if there are things in these three categories that really aren't what you sell anymore, think about ways to turn those into income. Maybe you could give away a free gift with every purchase over $100, aka things you are no longer selling, finished products that you no longer want to sell. Could you do maybe DIY packs for products you're not selling anymore? This is good if you have all the ingredients. Can you put them into a pack and sell those as a kit? You know, get rid of the supplies and create some income in the process. If neither of those apply, maybe a sample sale. Some of the all pieces, give your loyal customers one last chance before you officially retire something. Or maybe you could even break down some process pieces, some work in progress, or even your supplies, and reuse or recycle the components of those to create something new. Really just saving on having to buy more supplies. And it's not just the supplies that make your products too. Think about where you might have business cards, where you may be able to use envelopes that you have stashed away, reusing the things that maybe not perfect, but are generally good enough. So the second broad category is, what does your data say about the Christmas rush? Now, 2020 is probably the hardest year to compare to any other year that's gone before, but you still really do have detailed information to help you make decisions. They aren't going to be perfect. We're talking about forecasts and predictions, but they should help you. So firstly, check out your sales volume from last year. What sort of orders were you processing online? How many? What's the quantity? What were they worth? You know, and how does that compare to what happened just before it? So if we're talking about the kind of Christmas rush being 8 weeks from mid-October to mid-December, how do those 8 weeks from 2019 compare to, say, the 8 weeks before that? So the 8 weeks to the middle of October. Were you doing 50% more? Were you doing 75% more? Were you doing twice as many sales in the 8 weeks coming up to the 8 weeks that's just gone before? You can use this information as a guide based on what's happened in the 8 weeks of 2020 to kind of forecast what's going to happen in the next 8 weeks going forward. Check out as well what events you had on in that period and see if you can kind of extrapolate some of that information. Think also, secondly, about what products were actually selling. So your product sales information. What sort of items were popular last year? Was it the smaller giftable items that are more popular in this next 8 weeks? Or was it larger pieces, custom pieces, personalized pieces, or things that are gift boxed ready for giving? Think about what the type of product is and how that's changed, and that will help inform what you need to make and what you need to spend your time on and what you should be promoting. And don't forget the trends as well. Now, this is not something maybe last year, but what's been happening through the current year? Are you selling more of a particular item, more of a particular style, more of a particular material maybe? What about seasonal trends and colours? Because these will impact your sales in a way that last year's sales simply cannot predict. Now, all of this category really is based on good data. So that's data that is accurate, timely, and detailed enough, because it is so valuable for every business. And I'm not just talking about bookkeeping data. Like your sales data, the product, the size, the colour, the style, the finish, the design, the pattern, all of these really help to bring a little bit more science, a little bit more data, that is, into the art of predicting sales and not over investing in stock or supplies that aren't necessary at this point. They really do help. Just bring in a little bit of data to help you cross-check your gut feelings. So using this data is really helpful for you. Think about what you're going to make and therefore what supplies you're going to need to buy. Think about the order in which you're going to make things. Maybe if the what or the value of sales changes over the 8 weeks. Maybe you need to make more Secret Santa sized gifts at the end of the 8 weeks, so more in that December period where people are going to Christmas work parties, and you spend a little more time at the beginning making the larger pieces. Think about what you're going to promote on social media. Is it going to follow a similar pattern? Are you going to start putting more items with gift boxes, more emphasis on gift wrapping, sending things straight to gift recipients? Maybe a good thing for December when times run a little bit short and people have left their postage to the last minute. And also think about, when you're going through this information, what will help people to make gift choices or decisions. Maybe sharing some information around colour trends or pattern trends, or who this gift might be good for, could help people make a purchasing decision. Now, this has been a lot of data, a lot of information, and if this really does seem out of reach for you, these really are some simple processes that I help clients put in place to track this sort of information. Knowing what sells, knowing when it sells is really important, because that sort of information really does help inform your decisions and to help your business grow. So if you want an external perspective, aka my opinion, on what might be missing in your business, then we can have a free chat, 30 minutes, where we will review what is in your business now and what you might benefit for. So I'm talking the really sexy systems and processes, but they really can give you this data without needing to be a maths whiz or a spreadsheet whiz. So check out the description, and I will put a link to that free 30-minute chat in the description. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If so, I would love you to give me a like, leave me a comment if you have any questions, and you can always subscribe for more content like this for creative business and creative business finances.